Hey church, hope you're well. It's Friday, January the 15th, and I just want to tell you a quick story. Several years ago, maybe 20 years ago or so, when I was a youth pastor in Omaha, Nebraska, took a big group of high school students to a conference in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it was put on kind of an evangelism theme, put on by a traveling evangelist. And when we got there, we discovered that one of the activities during one afternoon was going to be to go out in small groups into the neighborhood around where this conference was and basically go door to door with a small group of us and just knock on doors of people and find a way to see if we might share with them the gospel, talk to them about Jesus. And I was, as a pastor, I've been to seminary. I was used to talking in churches about this sort of thing and to youth groups and places like that. But I was not excited about this activity. And if I wasn't excited, you can only imagine how the 15 and 16-year-old students were feeling about it. But we went out, and it was a winter. I remember it was cold. And we went door to door, and we started to try to talk to people about Jesus. And be honest, it's kind of a blur. I don't remember having any significant conversations. I don't remember that many people opening the door, and those who did, there were kids there, so they were at least kind to us, but not a lot of receptivity. And we did not go back to that conference the next year. I think, in retrospect, some of you may have had some experiences like that. I'm sure you've been on the other end of people coming to your door to try to share with you some spiritual, some religious message. And experiences like that have really colored or tainted even the way that we think about evangelism. It's a word that we don't even maybe like much. Now, I don't deny that in other times and other places, and I'm sure even in our day, that sometimes going door to door like that or standing on a street corner can be an effective way to share God's love with people. Certainly in biblical times and even today in other parts of our world, those kinds of just kind of random encounters can be really effective. But in our day, in our culture, I'm not so sure. And it's because of these kinds of experiences that a lot of us, I think, are left thinking that evangelism is important, but probably not something for us, for the professionals or for the incredibly courageous or those who know everything there is to know. And we exclude ourselves. I just heard another person tell me today that it's not for me. I think other people, but not for me. And this is a person who's been in the church for a long time. A lot of us think this way. One of the thing is that I think a lot of us think that evangelism really these days is more just about the way we live our lives. Let's just live good and kind and loving lives and let people see God in that way without having to actually go out and tell people about Jesus. Sunday, we're going to look at an amazing text. I would love for you to read it beforehand. It's part of Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 10, verses 8 to 15. And just read through that a little bit, and it speaks directly to what it is that God is wanting people to do, to come to him, to receive salvation. And part of what our role in that as people who go in, speak a message to others. And one of my goals is to help us all to see that I really believe that God wants to use all of us in the church to be evangelists, to be simply people who come and deliver a message of good news. And so I've got a tough challenge on Sunday, because I know that's going to take some convincing for some of us to think of ourselves in those terms, but I've got some good news to share on Sunday, and I really hope that you'll be there with us and come ready to think about what God wants to teach us here. Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, we'll have our second Ripe Tomatoes workshop, which is really going to be super practical. I'm going to talk about some specific ways that God might be able to use, could be able to use you and I, ordinary people like us, to bring good news to people who need good news. So I hope you'll join us. The link is on the email here. So Sunday morning, I just want to encourage you, 10 o'clock we'll be worshiping. We've had a little bit of trouble with YouTube. I know it should be up on Sunday, but just know that it's always, should be always on our webpage, the front page there, and Facebook as well. So join us on one of those platforms and worship with us. I also put a note in the email here about a presbytery-wide prayer service of healing and hope that's going to take place Sunday evening at 5 o'clock, half an hour service in light of what's happened in our nation this last week or so. And so if you want to join in that, it'll be churches from all over the Northern California, Central Valley area, and you could join in that time of prayer. And the link is there to register for that. So wherever you are today, I hope that you are well. Know the love of God as your Father, the peace and grace of Christ, His Son, and the fellowship of the Spirit. Peace.